I've literally seen Christians go in on other Christians, and I'm like, that's not even, you're going in on something, and that's not even what that person, that's not what they said. That's not what they said, and it's not what they meant. But when there's assumptions, there isn't full engagement, and a person leaves with incomplete understanding, which leads to incorrect understanding. What's up, family? I want to have a quick conversation about an observation that I have made that I believe, if it is not the number one, it is one of the primary contributors to relational frustration. I'm arguing that wherever we see unhealthy relationships, and when I say unhealthy relationships, I mean that professionally, in terms of work environments, I mean that religiously, in terms of church environments, I mean that familially, and in terms of family environments, I believe that platonically, in terms of friendship environments, romantically, in terms of dating and marital environments. Listen, wherever there is unhealthy relationships, generally speaking, this is going to be somewhere in the mix. I think it's extremely important, extremely impactful, but it is often overlooked. And you're probably assuming that what I'm about to say is communication. That communication is one of the primary contributing factors to relational frustration. And wherever there's unhealthy relationships, there's going to be communication challenges. I would not say you're incorrect, but if you stop there, I'm telling you, you're incomplete. See, I am arguing that one of the greatest contributors, listen to me, to relational frustration, or whenever you see a lack of relational health, generally speaking, this is going to be somewhere in the mix. It's not just communication problems, it's comprehension problems. So when I say comprehension, please don't mishear me. I'm not talking about a person's intelligence. I think God has wired every human with the ability to comprehend. That's not what I'm referring to. I'm not referring to if people can comprehend. I'm referring to whether or not people are willing to comprehend. Here's what I'm saying. I'm saying that one of the greatest contributors to relational frustration, and wherever you see unhealthy relationships, you're going to see this in the mix, is the absence of active listening. Every relational issue, every relational challenge cannot be attributed to the person who's doing the communicating. Sometimes the issue is the person who is unwilling to do the comprehending. Now, of course, communication is important. I think communication is massively important. Even when you look at scripture, you see God is a communicating God. We know what we know about God primarily because of what he's communicated. I am 100% all in on the impactful, catalytic, consequential nature of communication. I'm with that. We need to be great communicators. But I am telling you, if this one thought leader defined communication this way, he said communication is the transferring of thoughts, ideas, concepts, emotions, information from one mind to the next. It's the transferring. It's like transferring. Okay, my thoughts, my ideas, my concepts, information, emotion is coming from my mind, my heart to the next. Okay, so this suggests to me that if thoughts, ideas, concepts, information, emotion doesn't successfully go from my mind and my heart to another mind and another heart, then we've talked, but we hadn't effectively communicated. Make sense? Okay, so effective communication then requires not just a person that will communicate clearly, it requires a person that will comprehend accurately. You see, a friend of mine says something years ago. I heard him say this. It's one of the most profound thoughts associated with communication I've ever heard in my life. He said, you're never talking to a person, you're always talking to their filter. and the filter is, like this compilation of their experiences and their assumptions and their perspective and their pain that impacts the way they interpret what you're actually saying. So a person can say that was not a wise decision. a person's filter has to take what that person is saying and interpret it through the years of pain and experiences and assumptions and perspective and misinformation. And what they might receive is, you're not wise. Got me? So the question I think all of us who want to have healthy relationships need to ask, and I think healthy relationships is a biblical imperative. It's not an option. It's not an accessory. You can't get Christianity right if you're getting relationships wrong. That's a completely different thing. I've never seen, so I'm not going to say that. I was getting ready to go on my soapbox. Calm down, Dharius. Pull it back. Rein it in. I'm going to say it anyway. I am just so surprised. I'm just so surprised at how many people erroneously, incorrectly assume they can get along with God without getting along with people. It seems like sometimes there's this tribe, this sect in Christianity that almost like assumes that love for God means hate, harshness toward people. It's the weirdest thing to me. Anyway, loving God and loving neighbor as ourselves is what's called the Great Commandment. So it's a Christian imperative. So I can't get Christianity right if I'm getting relationships wrong. Listen to me. Listen to me. If we want to really have healthy relationships, I think we got to ask ourselves, not how good am I at speaking? Am I a good listener? Do I comprehend accurately? And I am arguing that there is an epidemic of the absence of active listening. Now, this concept of active listening, you don't see the word active listening in Scripture, but the concept of active listening is scripturally supported. James says, be slow to speak, quick to hear. Slow to speak, quickly hear, quick to hear. Slow to speak, quick to hear. It speaks to this idea of being intentionally engaged, like being fully present. This disciplined practice of being fully present, fully engaging with another person as they're communicating with the intent to understand, not to respond. So I am listening with the intent to understand. It means I'm not just listening. Just let me let you finish, so that you can articulate your emotions, and so I can get this over with. So that I can move on to other tasks and responsibilities that I've got on my plate today. Let me listen so that I can actually show you how wrong you are and how right I am. Because active listening is what actually leads to comprehension. God's given the ability to every human, generally speaking, to properly comprehend. So the question is, what gets in the way of active listening, and then how can we remove that? How good a listener am I? As a boss, as a team member, as a spouse, as a child, as a sibling, as a friend? How good a listener am I? Here are three things that can get in the way of it that I think are incredibly important us just to think through and address. Number one, arrogance gets in the way of active listening. These are individuals who are always operating with the assumption that they right. Like they're always right. It's like, you're never wrong. Like, you're always right. This is God. It's like, no, I'm not right all the time. Not 9% of the time right. No, it's arrogance. You can't teach a person anything that already assumes they know everything. Pride is kryptonite to knowledge. So arrogance is listening to confirm what it already believes. It's operating from a place of superiority, which makes it difficult to get understanding. So if I'm not an active listener, I got to ask myself, am I wrestling with arrogance? Secondly, assumptions. And this is an individual that is listening, assuming they already know what an individual's about to say, or that they have accurately understood what a person means. I think I want to do a whole different video on this that kind of speaks to the responsibility of Christians to actually, as people of truth, actually accurately represent the positions of people that we even disagree with. So even if you disagree with a person's position, we have a moral and biblical obligation not to misrepresent the position. But assumptions, like I've literally seen Christians go in on other Christians, and I'm like, that's not even, you're going in on something, and that's not even what that person, that's not what they said. That's not what they said, and it's not what they meant. But when there's assumptions, there isn't full engagement, and a person leaves with incomplete understanding, which leads to incorrect understanding. And then 3, agenda. So I got to ask myself, am I a good active listener? If so, even if I am, to maintain it, I want to check my arrogance, I want to check my assumption, and then 3, I want to check my agenda. Like I think many people have, we have agendas in relationships. Even if the agenda is not exploitation, there is something a person wants from the relationship. There's a result they want from the conversation. There's a way they want something to happen. There's a what that they want to happen. And, and very often that agenda gets in the way of a person fully engaging, because sometimes someone's going to say something that might disrupt or detour or even dismantle our agenda. So when the goal is to win, to fix, to control, to persuade, to manipulate, and not to hear, it gets in the way of active listening. So to every person, whether it is professional, whether it is spiritual, whether it is platonic, whether it's in family, whether it is romantic, to every person that's serious about reducing relational frustration and increasing relational health, we not only need to improve our communication, we need to improve our active listening. And this will take our relationships to a whole new level. Man, I hope you found this helpful. If you want more coaching and mentorship in the area of relational intelligence, I want to encourage you to get on the wait list for my coaching community called Daniels Den. Link is in the description. Take care.